Spring weather is a reminder that we will soon see prescribed burns fire up across the fields and pastures. Those burns can be very beneficial if you do them safely. Abigail Gettinger is Agriculture and Natural Resources Extension Agent in Shawnee County, and Luke Burning is Fuel Specialist for the Kansas Forest Service. Luke, we will get the joke out of the way right away. Yes, his last name is Burning, and he's here to talk about fire.
Absolutely.
Okay. When we talk about the burns, this is the season for them, and they're very common. Why do people do these things, Abigail?
I think that a lot of times it can be used as a pasture management tool. And so a lot of people actually last year were calling into the extension office with questions about how to manage their pasture and how to use prescribed burns, and they weren't quite sure where to get started. And so this workshop is in response to that, because we're going to be working to cover just the ecology of prescribed burning in Kansas, as well as how to burn safely, tools to use. We'll have Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks there as well to talk a little bit about burning for wildlife. And then people have also been interested in how to basically form a prescribed burn association if they don't have just the resources or manpower to be able to do it by themselves.
And that is an important point, because Luke, I'm sure you would agree, you don't want people to just go out there and light a fire. That's not how this should be done.
Absolutely. Yeah, we need to have a plan. We need to do our due diligence. It's an activity that carries inherent risk, and so we need to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and our neighbors if we're going to go out there and use this tool that is an incredibly efficient tool for us to manage our landscape.
What would be the number one thing that people do wrong?
They don't come back the day after. Leaving the burn unchecked, we often see that it's the day after the burn that it escapes. Whether it's, today was a good day to burn, and then tomorrow the winds pick up, the humidities drop. If you're not out there keeping an eye on it, looking for any spots that maybe start smoking again, maybe there's a hot pocket with embers, and then the wind picks up, kicks it out. If you're not there to see that smoke come up and address that, it can be a way that fire escapes.
Absolutely, a great reminder. Who should come to a workshop like this, Abigail? Do you have to be a large landowner to think that burning is something that could be beneficial, and maybe you would need to create a plan? Or are you talking even just people with maybe a garden in their backyard and there's a way to get rid of some vegetation?
I think ultimately this workshop is geared for anybody who is interested in performing prescribed burning to be able to learn how to do it safely for whatever land size they have and whatever skill level they have.
Because I suppose any size flame can start a larger fire if you're not careful with it.
Yes.
Absolutely. So you mentioned some of the people who are going to participate. Is there a time frame that people do the burning and that it's most recommended?
That depends on kind of what some of your management goals are.
Sure, we typically see, in Topeka, spring burning season. Mm-hmm. Most of our prescribed fire occurs in the spring. That's historically, there's some research out of K-State, 1968, that showed that in stocker calves, the greatest gain per calf was achieved with a April-May burn. But there's been some extremely positive research coming out of K-State's Department of Ag over the last few years on alternative burn windows. One of the things that we see with our spring burning is that typically in the Flint Hills, we're lighting up 2 million acres over the course of the spring. And we all know that with the windy conditions we often have in the spring, the number of days that we're actually getting that done is very few. And so a ton of prescribed fire is occurring in a very condensed window. And so when we can go out and achieve similar results by burning in August, September, October, and spread that out, we can have significant positive impacts for the folks that are downwind of us. So depends on your objectives.
But so I imagine that's the ecology that you talk about, kind of looking into what is going to be the best time, and some of that topic will be touched on as well.
Yeah, and basically really helping people learn if they have a cool season grass versus a warm season, or if they're specifically trying to target a specific weed or woody brush removal, helping them figure out what's going to be the best timing for their specific situation.
A lot of information is going to be at this workshop. Here's when it's taking place, from 5 to 8 p.m. Thursday, March 13th at the Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library in the Marvin Auditorium. It is a free session, so come on out. They do ask you to register if you are able. 785-232-0062 is the number to do so. Will you turn people away if they just show up?
We will not.
No, so if you don't get a chance to write the phone number down and call, just show up there next week, Thursday, March 13th, or actually 2 Thursdays. in March 13th. Abigail, Luke, thank you both very much. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.